Hey, where to begin? It was in February, I think it was the 10th of February, I started a project. I found out something very useful, and I thought, yeah, this will be it. This will be my project, my next one. You know, I'm developing open source software. I'm doing this since, I think now, 14 years or something. 12 years ago I was still working for the banksters in Zurich, and I stopped there with a burnout, and yeah, everything changed after this. And now I'm only producing open source software to bring some value to the world instead of just making money. So of course I'm a tech guy. I used AI. In the very beginning it was just Codex. Then I found out, oh, with the Codex I can only program like 24 hours straight, and then I reached the limits. So I was thinking, okay, then I will also use Claude for this. They also got this abonnement for both for like 20 euros a month. So I worked with Claude, same problem. So okay, like I could work like 3 days out of 7. Then there was a limit. And this brought me to the idea that I could use the free time for something else. And I remind myself, oh brother, you already had 2 burnouts in a row because you worked too fast, or the market was demanding too much, or whatever, and some private problems, and so on and so forth. So now I thought I could use this time for make some architecture, to write documentations. I never did this in the past. I was just coding, and the code is the best documentation, I was thinking. And it's still true, but what I'm talking about documentation, I learned in university to create, to use rational unified process, and also SCRUM for agile software development, and I combined both to Crowdware unified process. Crowdware is my company. I had the idea for Crowdware like 14 years in the university. So it's my brainchild. It's still not concrete. It's still in my mind, but yeah. When I don't earn money, I don't need a registered company. So that's the point. And at the moment, I don't need to register it at all. Whatever. So what do I want to say is that I have this process, and this process is just a folder in the repository. There's one file called backlog MD, so it's markdown, and in the backlog I declare tasks, what to do, and what is architecture, and some boundaries and so on. And I also got a folder with the name task, and there are also markdown files inside, and I reference them in the backlog. So I can say, AI, please scan the CWUP folder and have a look at the README there, and also the backlog, and now go to the next task and do it. So, and therefore I also used AI to write these documentations. So I specify things. I discussed this normally I use ChatGPT for this. Now I'm switched more to Claude, and for some reason, some is a better architect, some is a better coder, so they have got their pros and cons. But I wrote technical documents, and of course I read them so that I can see, oh no, this is not what I meant. So I hand rewrite it, or I rediscuss it, whatever. And then I could create code very fast because the AI is able to scan the whole repo and also the documentation, and it exactly knows what to do. So we also created code. There is like the base for this project is Godot, the game engine, and Godot has got a scripting language called GDScript, and I use GDScript to generate code from Godot base, from the Godot DBase. So I could generate descriptions and code for every Godot class. In this case, the control, we use the control class to design user interfaces. And so this was kind of automated everything. Also, documentation is automated in GDScript. GDScript is writing the documentation, which are also markdown files. And then I say we because now we are 3 in a team, so to say, and I'm just orchestrating them. It sounds a bit silly. It sounds a bit like, yeah, this guy is completely mad. But this is how we develop software nowadays. Before I was typing everything by hand. Type, execute, compile, error. Type again, execute, error. Then I have to Google it. I have to look on Stack Overflow for resolutions. So long process. And at the end, sitting at the bank, for example, you've got like these boundaries, these rails, these fences. You can only do like this. And there was one developer saying, we only write 1 line of code a day. And this is kind of true. This is kind of true, because there are so many rules in big corporations, and you cannot just deploy them and test them. You have to fill out things and whatnot. Very complicated. And using AI on steroids, I would call it, it generated me like thousands of lines of code. And I tell you, I'm not able to check all the code. I only check the output, and this is enough time I've spent at the moment. But that doesn't matter, because it was not the final code at all. We developed something in C#, which is my preferred language years ago for the banksters in Zurich. There was 10 years of C# coding, and I think 10 years is like something the developer knows the language. So why not use language? Then I can understand what the AI is producing. But then I decided, okay, we have got a performance problem here. We should go to C++. And I thought, would I write it personally with C++? Of course not. But I don't have to type in everything. So, and also the AI knows about RAII, so it's about being not producing memory leaks and so on. So and if you put this rule into the specs, then AI will use these patterns. And I rely on that. And we can check it in the source code, of course. And so AI was refactoring this from C# to C++. And while doing this, I noticed there is a file growing, a GDScript file. You know, when you use Godot, there is this native scripting language, GDScript, and you can also script with C# and C++, but then you have to compile it. So, and what the AI does, it generated something in Godot script. So I was saying stop. So that's why I noticed the first time something is going wrong. So what I did, I switched off the computer, or at least I closed the CLI and said to myself, now I have to rethink this strategy. This is not working. As you know, maybe AI is hallucinating because it doesn't understand what you want from the AI because the prompt is not good enough. So I was really thinking, and then I said, okay, now it's time for Claude. Claude is in some cases better, also the better architect. So I said, Claude, can you please check the code from Codex? Codex is stuck there in a problem. Please make a code review and also explain this, why is this in GDScript. And Claude did this. It took some minutes, and it says, yeah, it has recreated a SML parser in GDScript. And I said, why? We had a C# parser, and we already ported it to C++, but with some circumstances I forgot to tell Codex to use the new C++ version, because the context was closed in between, and so the memory for the AI was away. I only had the memory, and the documentation was not that complete at that moment. So then I told Claude, can you please do this? Can you please move away the GDScript and use the C++ version of the parser, so that we have got a compilable version and a runnable version, and after this, can you please write a document specification so that Codex can continue doing this? And I asked Claude before, what would be your best suggestion? And it came to the idea, yeah, Codex can do this. For me, Codex is cheaper. Cheaper in case of it doesn't need so much context or whatever. So you don't have to pay for it that much as for Claude. This is what is burned on my hard drive, so to say. Claude is more expensive. At the moment I've got this abonnement, like both are 20 euros, but they measure the time used, and they put limits. I don't know the limit, they're not communicating these limits, but like from a feel from a stomach, Claude is more expensive, but in some cases much better. So yeah, Claude wrote the guidelines, and then I could quit Claude, and then I switched to Codex, and Codex was doing this very good C++ code. I haven't seen the code in detail, not everything, but it was working and it was performant. So from switching from C# to C++, we got parsing SML. It's our own markup language. Now it was 15 times faster. We have also got these SMS. This is our scripting language, parsing and interpreting. This is 7 times faster, I think, was the result. And now the engine is also, everything is now in C++, so I don't see the term Microsoft anymore when I compile the project, which lets me think it is more stable than before, because C++ has no garbage collector, so there's no runtime needed to make something with the laziness of the programmer. The programmer is too lazy to call malloc and free, so the garbage collector has to do this to get rid of unused memory. And this is a process which runs in the background, and sometimes it runs at the wrong moment. And that's why I decided also to go with C++ and not Rust, because C++ is very aged. I started with C in the early days, like 40 years ago, and it is very mature programming language and fast. I remember from the beginning, sometimes I had to use assembler code to make it even more fast. This was the days where we use interrupt 10 for graphics programming. These days are luckily over, but you can make some things faster with the assembler. But this is not needed anymore because the machines are now fast enough. So the result was, and now pay attention. This whole project was 28 days, and the result was we could kick out 41,000 lines of C# code. And there this rule, refactor mercilessly, becomes a new picture. 41,000 lines of C# code we could erase, and now there are left 19,000 lines of C++ code. This alone is like amazing. It's a lower language, but half the code. So, and it's working, and it's running. And now the base is ready, and it can be code reviewed. Therefore, I need people. So feel invited if you are a code reviewer, if you're interested in what AI is producing in code, if you're interested in what our stack does. I invite you to join. But the output is we never have to change this code anymore, because we write applications based on our markup language, SML, simple markup language. It's based on QML from Qt. We just reused it without the expressions, so it's design only for designers, not for coding. And we have got SMS. It's simple multi-platform script. It's based on Kotlin, and because Kotlin is a nice language, it has the keyword fun when you declare a function. This is a funny software development, and we used a little hack, because when you're able to create your own programming language, you can do things better. Maybe you remember this code, this dispatcher code, where it goes over all menu items or over all tree view items. And so you have got big if-else statements, or when you do this in Kotlin, you've got a when statement or case in C#. And we did it differently. we have got an ID for the menu, and this idea we put as a event name, and then we code on ID dot clicked, for example. And so we have got a little code just for the click of this menu item. So that makes things easier and more readable, and without these if-else bloat code. So this is already the benefit in comparison to Kotlin. And it's interpreted, and we will run a benchmark test, and when we will find that it is not fast enough, we can also transpile it to C++. Yeah. So I hope this might help you. The idea that you can use AI for code development and how you can do it, and also that there are different AIs for different use cases. For example, we also use Grok. Grok is the AI from X.com, Elon Musk. This is not good in code development at all. I would not use it for code development. Maybe it can create like websites or whatever, and simple applications. Maybe there are some strengths, but it was not able to change my code or to understand my code. But what it does really good, image creation. I used it for creating images and videos. This is amazing. This is so amazing, I think. We created a 3D software, I call it Poser. You can have 3D characters. Maybe you get them from Mixamo, maybe you know them, they are already rigged. And you put it in the scene, and then you can just play with the bones, so that you can rotate the bones, and so you can bring this character into poses. And because we already have poses, so we can switch to another pose with animation. And this is already implemented. And what we do, we've got untextured characters, render them like gray boxing, so without textures, and also like you can put blocks or trees in the background just without texture. And then you produce a video or just a single frame. You combine these frames with FFmpeg to a MP4 file. You push this to Grok, video to video, and put like the good prompt and maybe like a picture for the style, and then you say, please use this video with a concrete pose, like in the video, don't change it, but use this style. And Grok is coming up with amazing videos, really amazing. Then the characters are textured, of course. It's a video, and you get all for, yeah, you need an API key for this, so it could be a bit expensive when you want to create an hour of a video. You have to pay like, I don't know, a few euros. I don't know the cost. I think it was like for 1 minute 4 euros or something you pay API cost. But if you're a film development team and you want to have a preview of your scene without buying assets, you can render this and say, okay, let's switch from 1001 Nights to Cyberpunk, or let's do this in the Mediterranean age, whatever. You can have the same video and just switching while watching, and so many possibilities with this. And therefore I use 3 AIs for their purposes. And what I also want to say, after 1 month of, so to say, hard work, I had my breaks in between, of course, I told you, because AI was limited. Luckily it was limited, now I know. Now, where I reach my milestone, I need a rest, because my whole being has to come to this point where the software is now. So I have to understand what already was built. Normally I would maybe need 2 years to build something similar. And I would not throw away 41,000 codes which I typed in personally. I think I would never. But now it was just something. It didn't cost that much. And I think this is exactly how we will build software in the future. And don't be scared, you will not lose your job as a good IT guy. We need more of IT guys, of course. Somebody has to specify these prompts, these rules, and you need experience with this. So my word to the junior developers, try to understand what is there already, that AI is doing the coding for you. You don't have to, you should learn coding, of course, like with a basic language. I would recommend C and C++ or Kotlin or something, so that you know how the computer works. That's how I did it. And you should play around with things, trial and error. So instead of going to university for 6 years, for 6 semesters, 3 years, sorry, I was already developing things. I was already in the business. So I taught myself C++ development, and I use Clipper, I use PowerBill, I use Go, I use Java, Kotlin, all self-taught. If you know how to learn a language, you only need curiosity, that's it. You only need curiosity, and you need to have no job. When you're working, this will kill your time. So if you're going to work for just for the money, forget about it. You will never become a good developer. From my perspective, you will only code for money. It's not that you passionate like me. So this makes a difference. It doesn't matter what you are doing. It's said, if you love what you do, you never have to work again. That's what I'm living. And at the moment, I'm not getting any coins for this, but I'm still safe. Someone's paying for what I'm doing, and it's not much, but who needs much? And of course, we can make money with the software. Our model is to create open source software and to sell licenses for companies. So if you're a company and you want to use our software commercially, you're making money with it, then we want a split. It's open source, everybody can use it for free. But if you're using it in your software product, in your commercial software product, you have to open your source code to the public. And if you don't want this, you can just pay us, no problem. And you can develop it further without telling us. Yeah, that's the idea behind this. So, coming back to the open source thing, to the open source stack, when our products will reach like a maturity and people want it and need it, then we can charge them for licenses. And you as a developer, if you want to join us, we can pay you for your work. Does this make sense? Just an idea. So that's it for now. If you've got questions, you can reach out to me every time. I'm open for any discussions about software development and technology architecture and so on. I'm happy to hear from you. Have a nice day. Bye.